Hello everybody, Jim Arroyo here, Oath Keepers of Yavapai County and the Yavapai County Preparedness Team. Still running the largest active group of Oath Keepers in the United States. We had a meeting 2 weeks ago. We had a 150 last meeting, and then this one a little over 100 people. So it's amazing when something happens internationally, how people get motivated suddenly to start to get prepared, and they want to know what to do, and the fear kicks in. Well, that's what we're here for. We're not fear mongers. We're not here to doom and gloom you, but we are here to educate you. We'll give you the intel. If you consider it doom and gloom, okay, fine. But what do we do with that information? And that's what helps change the whole psyche of the American people. When they're given a solution to a problem, suddenly the problem is not really a problem. It's only a problem when you don't have a solution. So we're going to talk, this is going to be like a condensed version of our meeting. Just to let you know, you can go to our website at ycpt.org and the meeting will be posted there. It'll be on Rumble, BitChute, Wimkin. There's a number of places. Most go to Rumble to look at the meetings, and you'll be able to get the full version. You're just going to get a condensed version today. So let's go into the intel briefing of what we talked about. And this is a little bit of economics. Mostly this is pertaining to World War III, which is well underway. I mean, there's no doubt about that anymore. But the main thing, I picked up some information last week. China is dumping more U.S. debt. They're dumping our treasuries at a rapid rate. The last one they mentioned in the media was around $900 million, which is a significant amount. This last one is in the billions. They're dumping it quickly. China used to hold the largest amount of U.S. debt by buying treasuries, which is basically a bond. They give us money, we give them a treasury note and say, okay, we'll pay it back to you with interest. That's not going to be a good idea. That's not going to happen. They know they're not going to get paid back, so they're dumping them. Japan was the second largest. Well, since China's last dump, Japan is now the number one holder of U.S. debt as far as treasuries. And Japan is dumping them at a rapid pace also. The problem is the Chinese holdings of U.S. debt dropped to the lowest level in 14 years. That's since 2009. That's a significant amount. And one thing we put out years ago is watching the economic situation of the United States. The main indicator would be watch China. When China starts dumping treasuries, we're headed for a very bad situation. So this is not a good position for the United States to be in economically at all. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what to do on that in the later part of the segment here. So what's going on overseas with Israel? Everybody's concerned about Israel and Hamas. I say this all the time. Guys, don't worry about Israel. They can handle this situation. The real problem is the Israeli ground war is expanding. They announced Friday officially that they are moving on Gaza and they are moving on the West Bank. And they sent in about 100 vehicle convoy was the report we got. And there was an on-ground reporter there, a journalist who's a former U.S. Army Ranger. And he was saying while he was giving the interview to the news section, they heard gunfire, AK-47 fire in Jerusalem. So there's actual fighting breaking out inside of Israel. Of course, when they went into the West Bank, they were met immediately by gunfire. And of course, they came under immediate gunfire as soon as they crossed into Gaza from the north. So basically, the report I got is they're moving in with those big D9 Caterpillars that are all built up. Apparently, the blades on them are 15 feet wide. These things are all up armored. They're monsters. And the idea is they got to go in and clear the roads. What happens when you take out a building is it drops into the streets, and even tanks have a hard time negotiating that. So the Israelis came up with this idea of having these bulldozers come in to clear roads so that you could get in there with your armored vehicles. What else is going on? How about Iran? Iran has been attacking the U.S. Embassy in Iraq with proxy militias. That is another problem. So the Americans pulled all non-essential personnel out of that embassy. Also, Iran last week threatened the United States on our soil from the floor of the UN. Can you imagine that? An Iranian leader saying, yeah, we're going to attack you in your own country on the UN floor. That's a war crime right off the bat. So the U.S. went ahead and responded by bombing Iranian proxy forces in Syria. This thing is escalating out of control. U.S. has been shooting down missiles from Yemen. Okay? This is a war. It's going on. The Americans sent in a carrier task force. Then they sent a second one with an MEU, Marine unit. That's the Marine Expeditionary Unit. And then they announced they're sending a third carrier task force. Well, just Saturday, I got another report. 4 carrier task forces are entering the Med. You have no idea how much firepower is on one carrier task force. To send 2, they can take out a whole country. They're sending 3 and now a 4th. This is escalating out of control. They don't do that because the cost is astronomical. So they're staging themselves and getting ready for a massive fight. They're not getting there. And in this last carrier task force group, they have a full Marine amphibious assault unit. So when they're saying they're going to get ready to send in the Marines, that's a major fight. I don't believe they're going in to assist the Israelis in Gaza. The Israelis don't need help, but they are there in case Egypt gets involved, Syria or Jordan, or coming from Lebanon, or Iranian forces sending in ground troops, then they'll probably go in. What else internationally? How about China and the Philippines heating up quite a bit? There were a couple of ships that collided out in sea, Chinese military and some kind of cargo ship. So things are happening all over the globe. The U.S. government is putting out warnings of sleeper cells in the U.S. They're talking about people of interest coming across our southern border. We know Hamas is coming across our southern border. They're being assisted by drug cartels, primarily Sinaloas. So they have the best smuggling routes. The cartels smuggle them in, and they bring their weapons in, their equipment, whatever they need. So now all of a sudden it's gotten serious enough since Hamas attacked Israel that now the U.S. is concerned about Hamas, which we have Hamas, Islamic Jihad, you got Hezbollah from Lebanon, you've still got Al-Qaeda and ISIS out there. We didn't kill them all. They're still out there, and they're in this country coming across that border, and they're not infiltrating. They're being brought in by our own government. We proved this with the Darien Gap, where Mayorkas went down to Panama and was there in the camps of the Darien Gap, loading up, was there assisting and telling people what they need to do, and they're loading people onto buses and bringing them up through Central America and all the way to the Mexican border and bringing them across. So they don't need to infiltrate the United States government, it's bringing them in intentionally. So you need to stay alert and stay alive. Situational awareness has got to kick in right now. Don't go out there anywhere without carrying your gun, having your head on a swivel, paying attention to your surroundings. Put your damn cell phone away, put it in your purse or your pocket till you get to your vehicle, and then get out of there. Don't sit in your vehicle and play with your cell phone, because that's the fastest way to get carjacked, especially a lady by herself, okay? Get in your vehicle and leave, and then you can go someplace else, and then you can pull your cell phone out. Okay, so knowing all that fun stuff, what do we need to do? So this is what we put out. And I'm going to go through this as quick as I can. There's more information on the video because this lecture went about 35, 40 minutes or so. But you're getting the condensed version. So this is what we recommend right now. If World War III kicks in at full speed and fighting breaks out here and Hamas and Hezbollah start firing up the place, there's going to be a lot of panic. There's going to be a lot of issues. What you need to do is take assessment right now of your own food and water supplies at home. Somebody asked me the other day, I gave an interview to KYCA Radio, and Chris Kuknio asked me, he goes, how much food should we have? And I get this question all the time. Minimum of 1 to 3 months of non-perishable foods. So what you're gonna do is go into your pantry and look at what you need to feed your family on a routine basis. What do your kids eat? What do your grandchildren eat? Stuff that is storable for a long period of time, things that you're going to use. You're going to rotate them. Remember, FIFO, first in, first out. Rotate that food stock. Minimum of 30 to 60 days, 3 months would be better. Check your medical kits. Get your medical supplies together and see what you're lacking in. Remember, we're going to be looking at a basic scenario of what Hamas did to Israel on the same scale here, only they're going to be hitting multiple places at once. You just saw a mass shooting in Maine with one guy with one rifle, and look at how much damage. He killed, what, 18 people, wounded dozens? We don't even know what the wounded count was. Thank God he finally offed himself. He's gone. But look at what one guy can do. Imagine a trained team, and you see the videos on YouTube of what happened in Israel. They published that. Those videos were put out from security cameras and from homes that had security cameras on them. So they got perfect evidence of what exactly that attack looked like. And if you're weak in the stomach or faint of heart, then don't watch them. But for those of you who aren't, if you want a good threat assessment and an instant intelligence analysis of what that's going to look like, watch how Hamas hit those people and killed them at point blank range and then burned them in their vehicles. It's pretty horrific, but guys, this is war. I don't want to get into a philosophical debate on who's supporting Israel or supporting Hamas or the Palestinians and all this crap, but I'm going to tell you this, going back politically a little bit, there is a tremendous push globally to support the Palestinians against Israel. Everybody is going against Israel. This is not a good thing. By the way, the Israelis put their subs out to sea. Those are nuclear subs. The one sub can take out all of Iran, so I'm not even worried about it. Last thing in the world we need is a nuclear conflict over this. But if they get themselves in a pickle, they'll use them. So check your medical kits. Make sure you have spare medications. If you're on life-saving medications, try to get extras so you have them on hand and you don't have to worry about it. If you can get a 2 or 3 month supply, that's great. There's been a run on ammo. I'm in the firearms industry. There's been a run on ammo, and soon there'll be a run on guns. Right after Hamas hit Israel, there was a run in the industry on 5.56 ammo. Everything in distribution disappeared. The dealers bought it all up, and people are coming into our shop every day and going out the door with thousands and thousands of rounds of ammo. It used to be, oh, give me 5-6 boxes. Now it's give me a case of 1,000 rounds. Okay, so there's been a run on that. Add to your stockpiles now because it's only going to go up in price at this point. And as of Friday, when I left the shop, I don't work on Saturdays because I run our meetings. There was no 5.56 to order from any distributor in the United States, and there was no 9mm left. So that happens that quickly. You can also always barter with your extra ammo for other items. So ammunition in the future will become currency. We're going to talk about that in our next video segment on a parallel economy. But having extra ammo, always a good thing. You can trade with it, and it's just not a bad thing to have on hand. Next item, your radios. Okay, we do this all the time. You ain't got commo, you ain't got jack. Get your radios. Baofeng UV5Rs are now 8 watts, and they are available on Amazon right now, and they're dirt cheap. You can get them for like $35 a radio. If you buy a 2-pack, it goes down. You buy a 4-pack, it's even more. They have specials going where you can get the extended battery. Okay, this one has the longer battery in it. They come with the short one that's about that size there. They come now with the longer batteries, and the price is pretty good compared to what we've paid in the past. And if you get a 4-pack, the price goes way down. So get together with some people who need them and order a bulk. Get the longer antennas. The new packs are coming with a longer antenna as well, but get some extra antennas because they're known to break. Main thing, get them programmed. If you're with our organization up here in Yavapai County, we program the radios for you. Other guys have the chirp program that you can program them with and start learning how to use them. Next, review your Stop the Bleed training. Remember, we are Stop the Bleed trainers. I am an instructor for the American College of Surgeons. I've trained over 700 students and got them certified. We'll teach you how to use 2 different tourniquets. You'll learn how to use a cat tourniquet and a rat's tourniquet. You'll learn how to use the Israeli pressure bandage and wound packing gauze. Very important to learn those techniques. If these guys are going to come in here and turn this into a free fire zone, there's going to be a lot of gunshot wounds out there. And as people found out in areas where this guy shot up the place, he didn't kill everybody in that building, in that bowling alley. He hit quite a few and quite a few died, but those that were wounded, who was able to save lives? A lot of them didn't make it. So learning your Stop the Bleed is extremely important. Another thing, get out and shoot. I'm selling guns every day to brand new people and they say, oh, give me just 1 box of ammo. And I tell them flat out, look, you need 200-300 rounds. You're a new shooter. You need to get out and shoot and learn how to use this gun. You need to train. That's important. Having the gun and ammo is a false sense of security, and in fact, you are more of a threat to yourself, your neighbors, and people around you if you don't know what you're doing. The training is more important than anything else. You don't need to stockpile ammo. You need to get out and shoot it until you're proficient. And then the next thing is dry practice at home. Get used to drawing from your holster, practice on a target in the house, remove the ammo from the room, of course, when you're training. You guys know what to do there. There's tons of videos on dry practice. But a lot of you folks out there are not used to carrying a gun. Some of us have been carrying a gun for decades. We're very comfortable. I don't go out my house without having my gun on my hip, and I've been doing it here in Arizona since I moved here for the last 22 years. Plus, I carried a gun professionally and a number of other things, not just in the military. So you guys that aren't accustomed to that, you need to start getting used to it. So go to our video on YCPT.org, check Rumble and BitChute. Watch the video from yesterday's meeting. Today is the 29th, October 29th. Check the 1028 meeting. You'll get some more information there. And plus there's some other good stuff we put out in that meeting. So, okay guys, be prepared. The next one is coming fast on the parallel economy. So we got to get ready. There's a lot of other aspects other than shooting guns. All right, thanks so much. We'll see you in the next video.